Mom, it's recording.
Phew, man! Gail, why'd you do that? Okay, today I'm talking about kids desiring the latest trends driving parents into debt. Are we being driven into debt by the desires of our kids? I thought about this when just last week my little one came to me and said, "Oh, Mom, my friends have got Gucci shoes. They wear Gucci shoes. Guess what? They are rich. They have Gucci shoes." I'm like, wow, that's so cool. But then I thought about it and I was like, as a parent, what do I do? How do I respond to this? Do I go ahead and buy my child Gucci shoes so that she can fit in with her friends at school or her colleagues at school? And you also, you know what? The kids have got school uniform, but despite the fact that they've got school uniform, they still get these Gucci shoes and put them on. They still bring the brands. I personally do not have any issues with brands. I do buy my kids the brands, but I do it usually on like their birthdays, or if something special, you know, is coming up, then I'll do it for my kids. But then now thinking about it, okay, how did I respond to my daughter with that? I was like, oh, that's okay, that's fine. Would you like me to buy you some Gucci shoes? She goes, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, but one lesson I wanted to drive is that just because someone next door, or just because your friend or your colleague or your classmate has Gucci shoes, does not mean you should have them. By that, what I mean is that I don't want my kids to have a consumption mentality. I don't want my kids to think if they see it next door, they're going to have it. If their friend has it, they're going to have it. That's a consumption mentality. And you know, as parents, with most parents, really, I think most parents will agree with me. We work so hard to try and provide for our kids. We want them to have the latest gadgets. For instance, at times we think, oh, I never had this when I was growing up. I would like my kids to have this.
Take a breath.
So we buy all these things for our kids.
Take a breath. Take a physical breath.
So what do we do?
You didn't take a breath.
We buy all these latest trends for our kids, all these latest gadgets for our kids, and they use them, they have fun with them, but they spend most of their time on these gadgets. And especially like there's YouTube now. YouTube is the in thing. Everybody's on YouTube. Even our kids are on YouTube. Like my daughter, my little one, literally, like during the week she's not allowed to go on her iPad. She only goes on her iPad during the weekend. So on Fridays she's like so excited, she can't wait to go on the gadget. But then that's fine, I bought it for her. But then if I don't monitor it, or if I don't control it, she's spending all her time on gadgets. Even when it comes to her fashion, she's talking about, oh, did you see this, Mom? She's seeing it on YouTube. So what's happening? We as parents, we work so hard to provide for our kids, but then we always have to remember that we shouldn't leave the gadgets to parent our kids. We are the parents ourselves, because when we leave the gadgets to parent our kids, they come and tell us what they want. They come and tell us what they see in the world. For instance, it influences them on what they should wear, which they should hang out with, or what's cool, what's trending. You know, what are the latest songs, what are the latest films, everything, you know, they're being influenced by this. Yeah. So anyway, back to what I was talking about with my kids saying, my friends have got Gucci. Obviously she wanted them. So I say to her, well, just because the next door neighbor has Gucci shoes doesn't mean you have them. Just because your friends at school have Gucci shoes doesn't mean you should have them. By that, I'm teaching my child that I don't want you to have a consumption mentality. I don't want you to think everything you see, you should have it. You know, if someone has it, you should have it. Otherwise, what's happening? Our kids are continuously being bombarded by adverts Every time they're on gadgets, they're adverts, they are telling them, you should have this, you need this, you should have this, you should have this. So I come in as a parent, I have to put a stop to that. I have to control. I have to tell my child that you shouldn't have it because someone has it. But if for instance, if my kid wants something, like they usually would ask, Mom, I would like that, I usually would say to them, that's fine. Sit on it for a while and see if they are persistent, if they keep on wanting the same thing. Because I mean, like I've noticed that even with us as parents, you can notice that you can go to the shop, the first shop you walk in, you see something that you like. You move on to the next shop, you see something you like. You move on to the third shop, you see something that you like. And then I've always asked myself, do I really like all those things? Do I really want all that? Do I really need all those things? I want them because I've seen them, but I do not need them. So that's the one thing that I'm trying to teach my kids. You want it because you've seen it, but you don't need it, right? So I keep on reinforcing that. You want it because you've seen it, but you do not need it. So that, you know, my kids will learn that they do not have to have everything now. They do not have to have everything because they've seen it from someone. That way I'm curbing that consumption-based mentality, that microwave, I mean, everybody, like I've heard it around that there is this microwave generation that thinks that I want it now, it's got to happen now. And that microwave mentality, that consumption-based mentality is what is causing us to get into debt. Because we see it, we want it, we see it, we want it, and it's never enough. We want more and more and more. We're piling more and more into our house. We're piling more and more. Like here, right? For instance, I mean, I'm talking for Australia, or lots of people who live maybe UK, because I've lived in the UK, I know about that. Most people, when you visit their homes, I'm telling you, they've got massive amounts of toys. Well, myself included, massive amounts of toys. So our kids, they always want this, want that, want that, want that. But then you see that the toy box is full and nobody's playing with those toys. Why? It's that consumption-based mentality. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. So we as parents have to teach our kids that just because you've seen it does not mean that you should have it. Just because someone else has it does not mean that you should have it. Because you know how, you know, people, jealousy coming up, it comes from seeing something from someone and wanting it. So that's a very bad rather mentality to have. You should buy the things that you need. You should have what you need yourself, not what someone else has. And also it removes that competitive mindset. It's not about competing with your next door neighbor. It's not about competing with your friends. Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, what I'm saying is that we shouldn't let our kids drive us into debt. We should not let our kids make us get into debt just because we want to please them. You know, I know when you buy something for your kid, you know, you look at the look on their face, you know, their face lights up. But one thing that I've noticed, they light up. The face lights up. Within a few minutes, that toy, that gadget is like just thrown away. She doesn't care about it anymore. She's looking at something else. She wants something else. So we shouldn't let our kids drive us. Instead, we should teach our kids. Teach our kids, you don't need that, you don't need that, you don't need that. The other thing that I do with my kids, I tell them that, okay, if you want something, on your birthday is coming up, or Christmas is coming up, mommy needs to save for it. I need to save for it. Like I don't operate on impulse. You see something today, you want it, I'm going to buy it. Nah, I don't operate on impulse. I say, okay, you want that, mommy needs to save for it, I'll budget for it, and maybe 6 months down the line, I'll put a timeline. 6 months down the line, I'll buy it for you. Then when that time comes, I'll buy it for them if they've been consistent in saying they keep on wanting it. But if they waver, 1 minute they want something, the next minute they don't, the next day something else, I know they don't want it. Right? Okay? So anyway, thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode.